environment. So this topic is divided into 5 parts. So for this first part, we are just going to be looking at the formation of fossil fuels. So quickly, this is more like the syllabus content uh, for fossil fuel formation. That is 2.1. So we are going to also look at in the part 2 of this video, we are going to be looking at the 2.2 aspect. So this aspect will be done in the part 2. We'll look at energy resources and the generation of electricity. But for this video, so we try to make sure I'm trying to make sure the videos are in bits of 5-10 minutes, so that it won't get too boring towards the end. So we are looking at fossil fuel formation. So we should be able to describe the formation of fossil fuels, including coal, oil, and gas. So quickly, now fossil fuel formation. Fossil fuel are carbon-based fuel. They are carbon-based fuels that are formed over millions of years. So it takes many millions of years for this fuel to be formed, and that is why majorly it is a non-renewable form of energy. Now, and it is formed from the decay of living matter. So you should take note of this, that coal is actually formed from plants, while oil and natural gas are formed from sea creatures. So let's look at the different stages involved in the formation of this fossil fuel. So first, formation of coal. Formation of coal. Now, when you have huge forests that have grew over millions of years ago, covering the Earth's surface. So millions of years ago, there were huge forests covering the Earth's surface. Now the vegetation died, so this huge forest died and formed peat. So you can look at the stages here. Over time, the huge forest that formed this first layer died, and the first thing to be formed is a pit. Now, this pit was compressed between layers of sediments to form what is known as lignite, and lignite is a form of a low-grade coal. So, as a result of pressure and heat, this pit is converted to a lignite, and further exposure to heat and pressure will convert the lignite into coal, majorly anthracite, which is a high-grade coal. So further compression form a coal. Now, simple in an exam, if you are asked, describe the process of coal formation, this is enough to give you the full marks. Now, huge forests grew millions of years ago, covering most of the earth. Now, the vegetation died and formed first peat. Now, as a result of compression and heat, the peat is converted into coal. That's all. Then formation of oil and natural gas. Like I said earlier, oil and natural gas are formed from animals, while coal are formed from plants. So it's the same similar process. You just need to look at the steps that are involved. It will just make everything so clear. First, small animals and plants die and fall to the bottom of the sea. So they die and fall to the bottom of the sea. Their remains are covered by sediments. As the sediments start forming different layers, if you don't understand this, you can watch the chapter 1 where we look at rocks, minerals, and exploration of these minerals, where we looked at the formation of the different types of rocks. Then you'll be able to tell you how sediments form the individual layers that lead to further compression of these sea creatures. So as the sediments start forming layers, they start to change into sandstone. So these layers begin to change into sandstone as the temperature and pressure do what increase because of the layers, the subsequent layers that keep piling up on top each other. Now the heat and pressure turns the remain into crude oil and natural gas. The heat and pressure turns the remain of these small animals into natural gas. Now they separate and rise through the sandstone, filling in the pore spaces. Now the rocks above the oil and gas is impervious. That means it is non-porous. It does not allow water to pass through them. So when a rock is impervious, that means water cannot pass through it. So take note of that. So they get trapped underneath, waiting for it to be explored and exploration to take place. Now, so see, this is more like a dramatical representation of the formation of oil and natural gas. So simple, we have ocean and small sea creatures um, die. So these tiny sea plants and animals died and were buried on the ocean floor. Over time, they were covered by layers of silt and sand. So you see, plant and animal remains covered by layers of silt and sand. As you can see, over millions of years, the remains were buried deeper and deeper. The enormous heat and pressure turned them into oil and natural gas. So today we now drill through layers of sand, silt, and rocks, majorly sedimentary rock formation that contain oil and gas deposit. So simple. That's the majorly what we need to look at. So next lesson we are going to also look at the different process that leads to the generation of electricity and the advantage and disadvantage of these individual forms of energy. So see you in part 2